Ellie and Gerry, the tail of the elephant and the giraffe in the heart of the African savanna, where the golden grass stretched out as far as the eye could see and acacia trees dotted the horizon, lived two unlikely best friends, Ellie the elephant and Gerry the giraffe. Despite their differences, they had grown up together and shared many adventures. Ellie, the elephant, was big and strong, with floppy ears and a long trunk that she could use for everything from picking up food to spraying water on her back. Gerry, the giraffe, was tall and graceful, with a long neck that allowed him to reach the highest leaves on the tallest trees. Though they were very different in appearance and habits, they were inseparable. The two friends loved to explore their vast home, roaming from the wide plains to the cool, shady forests and the shimmering river that snaked through the land. Every day was a new adventure, filled with excitement and discoveries. One day, however, their friendship was put to the test in a way they had never expected. The Great Drought. One year, the savannah faced a terrible drought. The rainy season had come and gone, but barely a drop of rain had fallen. The grass began to wither and turn brown, the trees lost their leaves, and the river shrank until it was little more than a trickle. The animals of the savannah were growing worried. Water was becoming scarce, and food was harder to find. Ellie and Gerry, like all the other animals, felt the effects of the drought. Ellie's usual watering hole had dried up, and the lush trees that Gerry loved to eat from were nearly bare. "We need to find water," Ellie said one hot afternoon as they rested under the shade of a tree. Gerry nodded, his long neck drooping. "I heard some of the other animals talking about a hidden oasis far to the east, beyond the mountains," he said. "They say it's a secret place with plenty of water and food." Ellie's ears perked up. "An oasis? Do you think it's real?" "I don't know," Gerry replied. "But it's our best chance." And so, they decided to go on a journey to find the hidden oasis. It would be a long and difficult journey, but they were determined. With the sun blazing high above them and the ground dry and cracked beneath their feet, Ellie and Gerry set off together. The journey begins as they walked. The landscape around them began to change. The flat plains gave way to rocky hills, and the trees became fewer and farther between. The heat was intense, and Ellie's thick skin didn't help her much. She wished she could splash herself with water, but the streams they passed were dry, and the few puddles they found were muddy and undrinkable. Gerry, with his long legs and high vantage point, could see farther ahead, but even he could not spot any sign of water. Still, he kept his spirits up, humming softly to himself and telling Ellie stories to keep their minds off the heat. One evening, as they were resting near a small cluster of trees, Ellie sighed. "Gerry, what if we never find the oasis? What if it's just a story?" Gerry leaned down to nuzzle her with his long neck. "Don't worry, Ellie. We'll find it. We just have to keep going. You're strong, and I'm tall. Together, we can do anything." Ellie smiled at her friend's optimism, and they both fell asleep under the stars, dreaming of cool water and lush, green grass. The mountain pass. The next day, the real challenge began. Ahead of them lay the mountains, tall and jagged, their peaks shrouded in mist. Ellie and Gerry had never traveled so far before, and the mountains looked daunting. As they approached the first steep incline, Ellie hesitated. "I don't think I can climb this, Gerry," she said, looking up at the rocky path. "I'm too big and heavy. I'll never make it." Gerry, who was more agile, started climbing the path easily, but he noticed Ellie's struggle and stopped. "We'll figure it out," he said. "Maybe we can find another way." They searched for a while, but the mountain range stretched far in both directions, with no easy path in sight. Ellie tried to climb again, but each step was harder than the last. Her heavy feet slipped on the rocks, and her legs ached from the effort. Just when Ellie thought she couldn't go on, Gerry had an idea. "Ellie, use your trunk to hold on to the rocks," he suggested. "You're strong enough to pull yourself up that way." Ellie wasn't sure if it would work, but she decided to try. Slowly, she wrapped her trunk around a large rock, using it to balance and pull herself forward. With Gerry encouraging her, she took one step at a time, and bit by bit, they made their way up the mountain pass. It was slow and exhausting, but eventually, they reached the top. From the peak, they could see far into the distance, and Gerry's sharp eyes caught a glimmer of something in the far-off horizon. "I think that's the oasis," Gerry exclaimed, his long neck craning to see better. "We're almost there." Ellie, panting from the climb, smiled through her exhaustion. "I knew we could do it," she said, feeling a surge of hope. The deserted valley with renewed energy, Ellie and Gerry descended the other side of the mountain and entered a wide, flat valley. But as they walked, they noticed something strange. The valley was eerily quiet. There were no other animals, no birds in the sky, and no sound of running water. The ground beneath their feet was dry and cracked, and the few trees that dotted the landscape were bare and brittle. "I don't like this place," Ellie said, her ears flapping uneasily. "It feels empty." Gerry, too, felt uneasy, but he kept walking, hoping they would soon find the oasis. As they journeyed deeper into the valley, however, their hope began to fade. The oasis, if it existed, seemed farther away than ever. Then, as the sun was setting and casting long shadows across the valley, they came across something unexpected: a small, crystal-clear pool of water, surrounded by a patch of green grass. "Water!" Ellie cried, rushing toward the pool. But before she could reach it, Gerry stopped her. "Wait, Ellie," he said, his voice cautious. "Something's not right." Ellie paused, looking at her friend in confusion. "What do you mean?" Gerry pointed with his hoof to the ground near the pool. There were deep, heavy footprints leading away from the water, and they didn't look like any animal prints they had ever seen. They were large and clawed, and the ground around them was scorched, as if something very hot had passed through. "We need to be careful," Gerry said, his long neck scanning the area. Just then, a low, rumbling growl echoed through the valley. The ground shook slightly, and Ellie and Gerry froze. From behind a large boulder near the pool, a huge, scaly creature emerged. It was a savanna dragon, a rare and ancient creature that few had ever seen. Its body was covered in shimmering scales that reflected the setting sun, and its eyes glowed with a fiery light. The dragon stretched its wings and let out another growl, eyeing the two friends warily. Ellie's heart raced. "What do we do?" she whispered to Gerry. Gerry thought quickly. "We don't want to fight it. We're just here for water. Maybe if we show we mean no harm, it will leave us alone." Summoning all the courage he had, Gerry stepped forward and bowed his long neck toward the dragon. "Great dragon," he said in a calm, respectful voice, "we are travelers seeking water. We do not wish to disturb your home." The dragon stared at them for a long moment, its glowing eyes narrowing. Ellie held her breath, unsure if the dragon would attack or not. But after what felt like an eternity, the dragon folded its wings and stepped back from the pool, as if granting them permission to drink. Ellie and Gerry exchanged a relieved glance. Carefully, they approached the pool, and after making sure the dragon wasn't going to charge, they both drank deeply from the cool, refreshing water, the true oasis. After they had quenched their thirst, the dragon turned and flew off into the darkening sky, leaving Ellie and Gerry alone by the pool. The valley was quiet again, and as the stars began to twinkle above them, they realized something. "This isn't the hidden oasis," Gerry said softly. "But it's enough for us to make it through." Ellie nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. Maybe the real oasis isn't a place. Maybe it's just finding what you need, when you need it. They decided to spend the night by the pool, resting under the stars. As they lay there, side by side, they realized how much their friendship had carried them through the toughest parts of the journey. Ellie's strength and Gerry's wisdom had made them an unstoppable team. Home again the next morning, Ellie and Gerry set off back toward the savannah. Though they hadn't found the hidden oasis of legend, they had found something just as valuable: water, courage, and a deeper bond of friendship. When they finally returned home, the drought had eased, and the savannah was beginning to bloom once again. The river was flowing, and the trees were growing green leaves. The other animals asked about their journey, and Ellie and Gerry told them the story of their adventure: the mountains, the dragon, and the pool in the deserted valley. But most of all, they spoke of the power of friendship and the courage it took to face challenges together. From that day on, whenever the animals of the savannah faced a hard time, they would remember the story of Ellie the elephant and Gerry the giraffe. and how even the most difficult journeys could be overcome with strength, wisdom, and a loyal friend by your side. Moral of the story: true courage comes from facing challenges together, and sometimes, the journey itself is the real treasure.